Melissa Locker.
And I'm Courtney E. Smith.
Welcome to Songs My Ex Ruined, the show where we talk about songs that have been ruined by our exes.
Hey everybody, my name is Naomi Cowan. I'm a singer, songwriter, and creative from Jamaica. And I love to make music and I love to perform it.
And Naomi, I understand that you have a song that has been completely ruined for you by an ex. And I was wondering if you could tell us what that was, and then we will do our best to commiserate.
There's a song called Let It Burn. And it was on this album that he had called Confessions. I was in high school. It was a very serious relationship for me at the time. It was the first person I called my boyfriend. I'll never forget it because two things were happening. My friends and we were all going out to a party, and I knew all of us, like everyone was going to be there at the same party, meaning my boyfriend was going to be there, his friends, my friends. We were getting ready, and I just remember like him sending me a message, like, hey, this song is really where I'm at right now, or something weird like that. And when I listen to it, the song is saying like, I have to let this relationship burn, beating the whole time.
That whole album is about him cheating on and breaking up with Chili from TLC.
No, she's just incredible, right? So
she's unbelievably beautiful,
yeah,
talented,
yeah,
genius.
Exactly.
So good.
Yeah, and then I think that was his way of trying to tell me too that he was cheated on me. Which he was.
Wow. Oh boy.
He was cheating on me, and he did end up being in a relationship with the girl he was cheating on me with.
Wow, but I definitely wouldn't be able to listen to that again after that song again after that.
I know. It was during the time in our lives where a lot of people were becoming more and more sexually active and whatever, right? So I know for a fact that I remember when he and I were dating, I wasn't ready, but I knew he felt ready. And so I think for him, he really should have just said, hey, listen, like, I want to take this next step. I'm not going to force you. And I found someone who wants to go there with me. That's really what was going on, to be honest, because I just wasn't ready with him. I think for me, I was actually kind of grateful because I do have this very strange ability to let things go sometimes. I was hurt, but then I had a great time at that party because I was like, well, pressure's off of me, like.
You're almost making me feel glad or grateful for the guy who dumped me because I was a virgin. Like, it almost makes me feel grateful.
That's exactly what it was. But at the same time, it still was hurtful to know that was happening behind my back, because it's also embarrassing, right? I grew up in a very small town, so everybody knows everybody. Once you go to like similar high schools in the same neighborhood, so I think that part was more painful to me. It was like just the blatant disrespect more than so him like wanting to go in another direction. Man, you were going behind my back. Like everybody knew we were together. I just didn't like that part of it. That felt way more dishonoring. So
totally.
So for sure, I couldn't listen to that album or that song.
Do you remember the first time you heard that song after the breakup?
Well, thankfully, that wasn't a club bopping song. So I don't think it's somewhere it's not a song I would hear other than like, like the music video playing on TV or something like that, It's one of those songs that they play at the end of a party, when you're trying to get everybody to go home. So I actually don't hear it often. So I got saved from the triggers for sure.
It's not going to like show up on some sort of like sexy time playlist. Why are you crying? Why are you crying?
Right, exactly.
When it comes on, do you find that you go through this whole gamut of processing that it's taken you years to go through and feel all those feelings that you're talking about with us right now?
I just kind of look back at it and I just kind of shake my head, meaning like, I guess we all have to go through it. I would have never thought that I would have experienced that. I tried to be super honest with people that I'm close to. In a way, I feel bad, but I feel better about myself at the same time too. Because I'm just more like, well, I'm thankful that it didn't become a thing. Because you know how in love you are with some of the first people that you've ever dated and stuff like that.
Oh, God, yes. The emotions are overwhelming when you're a teenager. It's consuming.
It's more bittersweet. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But you know what? I'm actually really happy, right? But me and that guy actually got back together like a year later. So,
yep.
But we dated again the second time. Still got cheated on multiple times again. So,
oh no.
Wait. So did you break up with him?
Yeah, that second time around. By this time, like I'm in university. It was long distance. I just remember getting to a point of exhaustion. We had back and forth, broken up, got back together. information kept coming to me. It was just so easy for me to find stuff out that was happening behind my back. And I was on the phone with one of my big sisters. Her name is Sarah. And I was like, Sarah, I'm tired. This is exhausting. I'm exhausted. I said, I don't know if I have any more to give. And so I remember just being like, I'm gonna end this. I can't, I kind of just detached.
Okay, so I am a petty bitch, and you seem like a very nice person. So when you decided you were going to break up with him, did you immediately start flipping through the Usher catalog, finding the perfect song to send to him? Because I would have.
I love you. No, I didn't. One thing I've noticed within myself, whenever I do get to that point of being ready to move on from something, I am so calm and I'm so just like at peace with my choice that I actually am almost way too diplomatic, which probably can be more frustrating to the receiving party. Comes off as if I don't care or have any feeling. It seems like, oh, she doesn't feel anything anymore, blah, 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 blah. And they want a reaction. They want some visceral tears and this and that.
Can I tell you that this whole conversation is making me have flashbacks because a man did this to me also, a breakup via a song,
Oh no.
except he was not a teenager. We were in our 30s. Like this was some
Oh,
Oh, grow
so
up, dude.
guys can stay on this tip for a long time of not using their big boy words. Boy, can that go on for a long time. I think there are women that can be that way too.
Courtney, I'm dying to know what song.
Blur to the end. And I mean, it's a beautiful cinematic song, but it's such a like obvious choice too to say this relationship's over. But after that faded out, we stayed friendly and I asked him about it maybe a decade later. And he was like, oh, I didn't really mean for the message to be that we should break up. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, have you heard the lyrics to the song that you sent me? Did we have a breakup based in miscommunication about what a song meant? Is that possible? No, I think he was just trying to rewrite history, but
right. But not, and still not being honest.
still not being honest.
I have several friends who are men who do not listen to song lyrics at all.
Men seem to rarely listen to the lyrics to songs. They seem to rarely
They
know what
could
songs say.
100% send you a song that is just like, I never want to see you again. And they'll be like, it was a beautiful melody. It made me think of you. And you're like,
Like,
no.
What?
you're like, please don't think of me when you hear
Yeah.
this.
Yes, please be done thinking of me forever. Love it. So let's circle back and have you tell us what you're working on right now.
I am coming to the end of a 1 year kind of a focusing on is just promoting my Stargirl EP and getting back on this normal life, hopefully. And then also just getting back into the studio as well to focus on my next album.
On your next album, have you been writing anything that's inspired by any romantic liaisons in your life by chance?
I tend to take moments or small experiences and then build upon them. Pretty much embellish the shit out of it and make it, into something really grand. So my most popular songs is called Paradise Plum. It was inspired by a hang with a guy that turned into like a bit of a date. We were hanging out because we had mutual friends and we met up and we just went for coffee. And it was just one of those days where we kept saying, well, do you want to go to this place? And then do you want to go here? And we just ended up going to multiple spots, right? In over like a 6 hour period. And it was just really cool being able to feel so comfortable with someone. We were in Toronto, and Toronto has a lot of really beautiful public spaces. And we're sitting in a park, but we didn't talk for like 5 or 10 minutes, but it wasn't awkward at all. Being present in the moment. And so in my song Paradise Plum, the lyrics of the hook say, you know me like you knew we never had to say a word, not a sound, silent. So it was just saying like there was a familiarity between us where we never needed to say much or ask the other person too many small questions or try to fill up the empty space. We were just okay with being in each other's presence. And even though it's not somebody that anything really deep or special happened with, and I didn't really see him again after that because he lived really far away. It just stood out to me, and I just thought it was so cool. And I was like, that's something I'd like to like put in my musical memory. So thank you to that young gentleman in Toronto.
Oh,
Aw. I can relate to that feeling so hard. I got off dating apps just under a year ago. And the one thing I miss, they're terrible, they're awful, I hate them. But the one thing I miss was when you would occasionally go out on a date with somebody who you connected with,
Yeah.
or even just meet up with someone. And then it turns into a 6 or 8 hour hang and you're having this connection. And it's like so rare, but it was so lovely when you get surprised with one of those.
Exactly. It was just like, I was like, this is nice. The whole thing was so sweet to me. And I was like, this is how connection should be. So I kind of just took it as something that I want to always experience. And so even though I don't even go on second dates if the first one isn't organic like that.
Yeah. And that would be such a great song if someone did make a mixtape and sent that song to you. It would be so sweet. Like it'd just be like, "Oh, I feel the love."
Yes,
Yes.
paradise.
Okay, the opposite question. What song out of your whole catalog should no one ever send to someone they like? Unless
I
they're
actually have a couple of songs, guys. The song I would say do not send to someone you do like, it's called Lucky Me. And what it's saying is, lucky me, I've lost another one. The story behind that song is someone extremely close to me, kind of like a mentor of mine. She was going through a divorce. I remember one day I walked into the studio and we had already finished writing a song for the instrumental we were on. And I said to the producer, I was like, hey, do you mind if we try to write something different? I'm feeling a lot right now as it relates to this situation. And even though it's not my situation, it's almost like I was embodying her emotions that day because I was so close to her. The truth is, there's something to be gained from anything that you lose. So I think for me, it was just like painting the picture of seeing the glass half full, even though it was a terrible, terrible, toxic situation, right? So kind of sassy in a way of saying, you know what, lucky, I'm lucky that I was able to get out of this when I did.
yeah, I would not want that showing up in my inbox anytime
No,
I
no,
was
soon.
no.
just going to say, now I know what song to send if I decide to break up with my
Yeah.
boyfriend.
What I love about Energy is that that song, sorry, I'm just like rolling my eyes because of remembering why I wrote that song.
Oh
So
no.
Don't worry, I think we could hear you roll your eyes. It
could
was
you hear the
good.
I know
veins? Like,
it was audible.
yeah, could you hear like all of the little pieces of my eyeball like ripping? But so Energy is about the first time I've ever been ghosted.
Oh, no.
So
Ooh.
here's the thing, guys. Like a very unknown fact about me is that you say you came off of dating apps for like a year, right? But I was celibate for a really long time for religious purposes at the time. I no longer practice that. But um
You're not a nun
I,
anymore.
yeah. Not good for you, I don't think. Even though I was celibate, I tried to date, but it's just different when you're dating with the intention of marriage. It's just not the same. It's way more intense. You take everything so seriously so early. So I actually ended up not really dating anybody during that time. And so when I put myself back out there, the proverbial getting back out there, right?
Was
I
that
love
your
it.
American accent?
Yeah, that's my that's my American accent.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I get back out there and I forgot what men are like in general, like how they think, how their brains work. Like there's some hacks. There's some
Yes.
hacks to this heterosexual life, if you choose it.
Absolutely. There's some like red flags that you can use to cut
Yes.
people
And
real
and, and,
quick.
and also like things you can pick up on or whatever. And I kind of came into this space with this pure, like lighthearted, like I'm ready for love. My definition of ghosting prior to that was when you leave a party. You know, you leave a gathering and didn't tell anybody you're not knowing it actually meant like when someone just cuts off communication with you with no warning, don't give you an explanation, nothing. And I try to be as honest and upfront with people when I'm dating and all that stuff. So it really fucked me up because first of all, we were, months into dating, right? This guy played no games with me. He didn't do that texting game of let me text her 3 days, like none of that. Like there was consistency. When we traveled, he would be like, hey, just landed. Hey, I'm getting on a plane. Like there was no, because we were just both like settled enough in ourselves where we didn't have to do that. So of course, naturally, we already have established a communication pattern and then it just gets cut off. I get no explanation. Um, have no clue. So for me, I feel like the word is like it's so jarring, right?
Yes.
And it's so off-putting when something like that happens, especially when I didn't do anything to cause it. And of course, then it makes you think, well, what did I do? It's like solving this crazy mystery, and you're driving yourself crazy. But the
I
thing
mean,
is,
you're just trying to give yourself closure. That's
exactly,
it.
exactly. And I mean, I had never experienced it before. And when I talked to a few friends about it, they're like, oh, yeah, like you got ghosted. And I was like, me? Excuse
Excuse me?
I just assume everyone's dead. It's so much
me.
easier.
That's nice. I love that. That's a great outlook.
Yeah, I mean, I
Or
definitely, there
like,
was, you could be
you're
dead.
literally, you ghost me? No, you're literally a ghost. You're clearly dead. That's the only reason this would happen.
Dead to me. Anyway, eventually I had to let it go. And then he did come back around and apologize and explain as best as he could, whatever. But the point is, it really affected me. And it's mainly because I had never experienced it before. I mean, and I learned so much through the experience. The main lesson was don't take shit personally. When people do things that are out of their character, it's usually stuff to do with them. It has nothing to do with me.
100% true.
Yeah, man.
So
Oh,
true.
yeah. I'm grateful for it
And so
because,
hard to internalize that, though, as well.
right. And so
Smart.
empowering writing about it with another guy,
Ah,
because you're getting the male perspective. Because we co wrote the song, right? Me and the producer. So it was like, it was just cool to talk through that with him to get maybe even get his perspective of what he would say to me as a female, as a friend, as a colleague. So, like, one of the parts of the hook says, can't nobody dim my light. That song kind of kickstarted a lot of me tapping into like my energy as a like my personal power in a big way. I can't allow things like that to steal the glimmer of light that I have.
Naomi, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us where people can find you on the internet?
Across all platforms, I am Naomi Cowan. So that's NaomiCowan. So yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, I am on and off.
thank you so much for being here, Naomi. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Songs My Ex Ruined. If you're enjoying the podcast, give us a review or rating on your favorite app, and it will really help. And hey, subscribe to get new episodes as soon as they drop.
Songs My Ex Ruined is a production of Nevermind Media. Executive producers are Melissa Locker and Courtney E. Smith. Produced and edited by Stephanie Aguilar. Sound design and theme song by Madeline McCormick. Artwork by Sophie Locker. Additional production support from Casey, Steve, Archer, Bimo, Newton, and all the other good dogs and cats out there.